And I couldn't help but think about this book. I love it so much. It's called The End of Overeating. Have you heard of that one?
Oh, I'll have to add that to my book list.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's so wonderful because he talks about exactly what you explained with the chemical laden food, processed foods. So their design is like this. And even at like food conventions, the food scientists come out and talk about that as being this industry secret, and he does a lot of brain research around this, and he says that the part of our brain has already, because of the chemical connection, has already decided to eat something before our hand even reaches for it. So it is so compelling about how, to me, what that says and what your recommendation is, absolutely, like, it's imperative to not even go down that path,
Yeah.
because these chemicals are so strong, and it does, they're designed to overpower. He calls it hijacking our brain.
Oh yeah, it's the dopamine. That's what's happening.
Yes,
We
yes.
are just literally eating to potentially heal our emotions or
Mhm.
but the feel good hormone dopamine, that's what's happening. We give
Yes.
ourselves this dopamine instead of potentially building healthier habits with our exercise and giving us the endorphins.
Mhm.
That takes a little bit more work to
Mhm.
accomplish, but that
Mhm.
is a lifestyle habit that can have incredible benefits.
Yes.
The food is fascinating, and I think that the best advice that I personally could give to anyone is just try not to have any bad food in your home. If you can
Mhm.
eliminate that,
Mhm.
sure, maybe a little piece of dark chocolate, or like, try to find things where you can still indulge or enjoy some things, but try to find the healthiest version of what that may be. And
Mhm.
I think that the biggest thing, now that we're talking about food again, the biggest thing that's different of where I grew up in the United States is all the soda and pop, the soft
Mm.
drinks. Like
Mhm.
when I remember growing up in Moldova, there wasn't pop was not a thing. Like,
Mhm.
we as a country did not drink pop, and
Mhm.
we would drink tea,
Mhm.
with a little honey, and then we would drink milk, and then we would make these things called compote, which is basically like, putting like fruit in water, and just it's kind of like a
Yes.
kind of a nice drink from, the remnants of the fruit juice go in the water and you drink that. That's it. Like,
Mhm.
pop was never even part of our culture. And then you go back, you just kind of look at United States, and pop is a regular thing. It's everywhere. And you think
Mhm.
about like drinking one cup of pop that has like 30, 40 grams of sugar.
Mhm.
That's a fascinating amount of sugar
Mhm.
that nobody should ever consume from a drink that's not providing any nutritional value.
Mhm.
There's one statistic that's probably one of the most fascinating statistics out there as far as sugar is concerned for our nation is 100 years ago, an American would eat a half a pound of sugar per year. Half a pound of sugar per year.
Mhm.
Now, look back 100 years later, and now we eat 157 pounds per sugar per year, which equates to a half a pound of sugar per day, which is like mind-boggling,
Oh my gosh.
and then, you can't blame that on genetics. That's not
Mhm.
just genetics. Sure, genetics
Mhm.
has some part in it, but our food habits and our daily habits have a way larger impact on what
Mhm.
is happening to our bodies and our
Mhm.
moods and our life, and how we treat ourselves and others around us, because, like,
Mhm.
if you keep giving yourself those dopamine hits for sugar, whatever it may be, you get the high, but then you have the crash, and
Yes.
you become moody. And, it's such a beautiful and intricate system that we have. Our bodies are our temples. And I wish that more people thought of them that way. It is what you have. It is your, whatever you may think of, if you're religious, God given, if not, whatever. This is the most important tool you have that you can fully control, that's within your control.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't give it what it deserves, you will never know how good it can be and how well it can function.
Mm-hmm.
It starts with everything, your skincare, your body care, the food you eat, the exercise, the thoughts you think, the outlook you have. But the food is a huge, huge, huge factor because we eat every single day, 3 times a day, and
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I feel like sobbing. That was so inspiring. I can't wait for people to see this. And the other thing too is that's so difficult. It's just like when I was talking about it's so tough for consumers to navigate, cosmetics with their ingredients, but just any like travel, just in even one small town where Toxie Free has its store, where I was born, Stillwater, Minnesota, it has 2 McDonald's. Like there's not even that many people who live in Stillwater, Minnesota. There's 2 McDonald's in addition to hundreds of other chains. And, it's like, so my next question then is, how do you, when there's so many products on the shelves and there's so many, we're just inundated everywhere with processed food, chemical filled products for skincare. That's why I feel like you're this beacon of hope out there, with your USDA certified organic label, that people can you're the solution for that. What do you recommend for people who are navigating all of this where it's just everywhere? So it feels overwhelming. Like, how am I going to find one little healthy product how do I find it?
So I have a couple of suggestions. I have a couple of tools that people can utilize and keep in the back of their mind as far as like skincare, body care, makeup is concerned, and then also some on the food front. As far as like items you put on your skin, what I tell my customers, probably one of the most important things out there is look at the ingredient list, okay? If there's a lot of ingredients and you can't pronounce half of them, probably not a good choice, okay? That's number one. Number two, if it has perfume or fragrance in the ingredient list, don't buy.
Oh my.
Because, and that's so hard to do. That's like it would literally probably eliminate 95% of all
I
this.
know.
But what's fascinating about that is that fragrance and like one little ingredient that says fragrance or perfume on your list of ingredients, that's actually a proprietary blend, and manufacturers are not required to reveal what that blend has in it. So it literally, there's been multiple independent lab studies that have taken fragrance and have looked at what that, it can have up to hundreds of different chemicals. I mean, it's like a toxic juice of all the worst things possible. Mm-hmm. So as far as eliminating, if there's anything that a customer or a person should eliminate, fragrance is definitely it. You utilize things like essential oils for your fragrance needs. Those are beautiful plant-based scented products. They're beautiful. You don't need all that synthetic stuff. And one thing that I want to share with you that like has been so it weighs heavy on my heart, because like smoking is not as prevalent nowadays. Hooray!
Yes.
Done some good things there. So hopefully, we can continue on that path. But what's funny is that, I go to the gym. I like to go to the gym, and all those women are just spraying all that stuff, that scented stuff from, all these companies out there. And all I could think of, you don't even realize, but this is what's giving you the migraine. Not only you, but all the people around you. So I almost feel like fragrance is secondhand smoke today,
Yes, it
and
is. Oh,
And once you eliminate fragrance from your life, you become so much more sensitive to it. Because I've never been fragrance sensitive, but now that I've eliminated it from my life for 10 years, I smell it, and I smell it with more depth and strength. And
yes.
I get so like, oh, I can't do it. It's
Mhm.
awful.
And that's exactly what happens to me and with my taste buds by not being involved anymore with chemical food, which that's all I used to eat. I could be like a chef or, on a contest for
Yeah.
because the depth of my abilities now for I got my nose back, I got my taste buds back, and oh my gosh. And the other thing I wanted to add was their products can have unscented, but they've also found
Mhm.
chemicals in those as well. So that's a really scary thing. And the anything with the scent are the forever chemicals, which are really becoming a problem in our soil and groundwater, and they attach in, I mean, they're like getting into the human cell and causing complete havoc. And the forever chemicals, I would absolutely 100% agree with you for anything scented. And I tell people that too, because I don't know how they're legal.
Yeah, yeah, and they're not legal in European Union. A lot of these ingredients that are part of
Exactly.
these are not.
Yes.
So that's a big one. If you can eliminate fragrance or from your skincare, body care routine, you're doing good. And
Yes.
choose essential oils for scented purposes. And another thing that I educate people, like with our Bloom perfume, I tell them roll it on your wrists and behind your ears. And granted, it's gonna smell, but it's not gonna stick on your skin for hours upon hours like the synthetic fragrance will. So you just need to re-roll it throughout the day. It's a different
Yes.
experience. So you got to educate your customers on that a little bit to just give them a heads up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different product, and it's not meant to stay on your skin all day long.
And I just have to tell you, everyone, we have a tester of that, loves that is a genius. You have so many genius products, but
Yeah.
everyone loves that,
Yeah,
including yes.
I
Okay.
know. I need to come up with a couple new scents, but that's hopefully down the road into the future. I've been asked to kind of provide more of a neutral, unisexy scent. So
Oh, I like
hopefully,
that.
hopefully that will be something down the road. And then going back to like the food choices, uh, the Dirty Dozen and Clean 15 are lists that I recommend my customers. They're provided by the Environmental Working Group. I literally have those printed out and pasted on my fridge so
Mm-hmm.
that and then I also have them in a note format on my phone so that I
Mm-hmm.
don't forget which one's which. So
Yeah.
ultimately, it's hard to buy everything organic, especially nowadays with inflation and all,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard. It really is. And so I understand people have to be on a budget. So my go-to, the Dirty Dozen, I do not waver on that. So I would never buy conventional strawberries and berries and give them to my kids ever, because there's so many traces of pesticides on those. Those are just the Dirty Dozen. I always buy organic. Things that have kind of thin, peels, like the potatoes and, those are important to buy organic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But things like avocados and cauliflower and some other things that are in a clean 15, I buy conventional. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
then the other thing too is cook at home. and it's hard to do, especially for busy, both parents are working. It really is. But try to maybe, cook for a few days ahead and eat leftovers, but it's so much better and healthier for you. One thing that Brian and I have done for the last maybe year and a half now, we've been buying grass-fed, grass-finished beef from a local farmer here in Iowa that we know absolutely treats their animals with the best care possible. And then you just taste that goodness in that meat because that animal has had beautiful life on the grass, eating what it wants to eat, grazing the fields, free range, and it's so cool to be able to support those farmers. So we bought a quarter of beef once, a half a beef, and now we're looking at another quarter again. So we put it in our freezer, and we get things like bones, which I need to get your recipe on bone broth.
Yes.
And then and it connects you with those farmers and your community. So there's ways that you can do that. There's you can connect with, if you're in Iowa, Practical Farmers of Iowa is one great organization where you can get plugged in with farmers and find these people that have these options. Iowa Organic Association is a great option too. So yeah, it's for me, it's been so fun to be able to work with Iowa Organic Association because I've gotten to meet these farmers, these amazing people that have so much wisdom and that are fighting the good fight and are producing things in an organic manner, because it's much harder than the conventional way. But you know what? They're doing it right because they want to leave a legacy of good for their families and their grandkids and for generations to come. So that's really cool.
Yeah, they are my heroes too.
Yes, farmers are definitely all farmers, even conventional ones, but organic ones are definitely, they're just the best of the best.
I know, oh my gosh. Well, okay, so that will leads me to like one of the last questions, which is what personally and when you think of other people has been the greatest benefit of taking the effort into including healthy products, healthy food, healthy makeup, healthy surroundings?
I think it's just when you do these things, when you really take that leap of faith and commit to giving yourself good inputs, may that be skincare or food or your activity level or your thoughts, you become a better version of yourself. You really do. And when you have that ability to do that for yourself, you encourage that in others around you. You kind of lead by example in a way, in a sense, and well, honestly, I have so many things I need to work on. Nothing like that. I don't want to toot my own horn. There's still a lot of things. So it's nothing like that. I have my weaknesses. Like I like the sugar. I'm a little bit of a sugar addict, but I control those things, and those urges. But ultimately, it's just educating yourself. And when you do those things, it really impacts your life in incredible ways that, you have a better quality of life. You think more clearly, you live life more fully, and you're more present, and you're more just grateful for everything you have, even with the ups and the downs, of life. You just see everything so much more closely, and you appreciate the little things so much more deeply. It's fascinating when you change those things, and it just takes one step at a time, one day at a time. You don't have to overwhelm yourself with everything, but as you give yourself that grace and that goodness, it just kind of keeps accumulating over time, and it gets better and better.
Compounding. So you, to me, are just like a farmer and a hero for all of the efforts that you do for all of us. And so, what can we do to support you?
Ultimately, you can check out my website, olgasorganics.com. Obviously, all the products I create are made with so much love and to give you an alternative to that you can really trust and put on your skin and enjoy and know that it's the best of the best out there. So of course, your support means the world, but ultimately I want you to support people like Laura and people in your community that are fighting the good fight, and may that be helping them with something or giving them you know the opportunity to shine, giving them the platform to share their story, like what you're doing today with me. I so appreciate that. Thank you so much. But I feel like we people, we're just have more goodness in us than bad. We're good people. We all want the same thing. We all want to be loved and fulfilled and lead a healthy life. And we can do that. We just have to start. It doesn't matter when. You can start today. Today's the day,
It's like a light switch.
Yeah, you just start sometime, and that's it. That's it. So for me, I love educating others. I love giving others the tools, and it's been so much fun to learn about your story and what you've done for your community. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything you are doing, because you are a beacon of light. And that's all we need to do, is we just need to shine our light in our own little communities, and hopefully that light can spread further.
And that is perfect, because I would add to supporting you through following your amazing YouTube channel, Instagram, because you do teach and share, and it's wonderful. I love what you're doing on those channels, and then sharing it with others, like someone else who you think would, because the more that people can find you and find healthy products, consumers have all the power. If more and more people are asking questions and choosing products that are healthy and that have ingredients with integrity and care, then it's going to tip what's happening in the country. So,
and on that note, do you mind if I share just one more statistic?
No.
That's really so the last thing that I kind of want to, that will be a good way to conclude this podcast. So millennials, I am a millennial. Those are people born between like 1982 to 1995. So like 26 to 41-year-olds. As it stands today in the United States, millennials have the largest buying power. So what the millennials are doing with their dollars, they're literally influencing industries, okay? And what's really fun is that the Organic Trade Association took a large enough survey of the millennials, and what they found is once millennials become parents, I am a millennial with 2 young kids, they don't waver on organic for their children, which then changes their buying habits for their whole family down the road. And what's most fascinating about that is that as it stands today, only 20% of millennials are parents, which is surprisingly low. So they're anticipating in the next 10 years, in the next decade, a big chunk of the remaining 80. Of course, not everyone will become parents, but a big chunk will, which means that demand for organic is going to continue to grow exponentially into the future. So for the farmers, if there's any farmers watching this, diversify your farm, transition some of it to organic, because demand will be there and it will continue to grow. And how cool would it be is if we could meet that demand within the United States rather than have to rely on other countries from abroad.
That is beautiful and the perfect way to end. So inspiring. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. The most beautiful Olga from Olga's Organics. We are just So grateful. Thank you. We love you so much.
Love you back. Keep fighting the good fight, my friend.